Hey guys, my name is CJ. I am a play facilitator here at the Scott Family Amazeum, and today I'm going to take you through one of my favorite Hershey's lab experiments. It's called Fizzy Fun, and we're going to learn about acid-base chemical reactions. So the first thing that I'm going to do is crush up all of my icebreakers. So it's really important that we crush up our icebreakers. It's going to give them more surface area and give us a better reaction later, because more of them will be able to dissolve. So because we can't do a chemical reaction in a plastic bag, I'm going to put them all into test tubes. So I have 4 of them. Each test tube is labeled 1, 2, 3, or 4, and that's just so we can keep track of all of our stuff. Here we go. So test tube number 1, we're gonna put bag number 1 into. And it all gets a little messy. Totally fine. The more mess, the better. Test tube number 2. And I want to get as much in there as I can because the icebreaker is what's going to determine how our reaction's going to go, how big it's going to be. Number 3. And then one more, number 4. Cool. Today, we are going to dissolve our icebreakers in water. And that's because water is really, really good at dissolving things. It'll break apart more compounds than almost any other liquid on the planet. And that's because water is polar. You can think about it kind of like a magnet. One side is really positive and the other side is really negative. And so it attracts stuff to it. And therefore it can dissolve more. So my first 2 tubes are going to get cold water. So I'm gonna pour this in. Boop. Boop. It's okay for a little bit over. And the second 2 tubes are going to get warm water. And we're gonna see if cold water or warm water makes any difference at all. So I'm just gonna pour in just enough. And then we're gonna do the same thing. So water's gonna go in. 1 and 2. And now, so we don't have any giant spills, I'm gonna put caps on all of our test tubes. Now it's time to dissolve our icebreakers. To do that, we're gonna shake them really, really, really good. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You could just go ham and shake them kind of like the maracas, or you could be a cool scientist and invert them like they would in a real lab. Either way, it's okay, as long as we shake them for about 20 seconds. So now I'm gonna line my tubes up 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're gonna do my favorite part of the reaction, and that is adding baking soda to it. So we're gonna start with tube number 1, and I'm gonna take a full teaspoon of baking soda and stick it right into that tube. You can also use a funnel, sometimes that helps. And if you guys can see, all of that baking soda just ends up right at the bottom. And actually, if you wanted to, you could pull it out of the tube and dry it off and use it in a cake later. It's perfectly the same. Nothing happened. There's no change. Now on to tubes 2, 3, and 4. I will use a funnel this time. So tube number 2. Whoa! We got lots of bubbles. So because tube number 1 didn't have a reaction, I don't think tube number 3 will, because we determined that they smelt the same. So even though it has warm water, I don't think it's gonna react, but we're gonna try it anyway. Big scoop, a little tap tap, boom. There's still baking soda all around the bottom. Now we're gonna move on to tube number 4. So I'm gonna place on our funnel and make sure we get a nice big teaspoon of baking soda into tube number 4. Whoa, and we did. We got a much bigger reaction. So when we dissolved it in water, the water became very acidic. And when we added the base of baking soda to it, we had a very special chemical reaction called a neutralization reaction, where the acid and base basically canceled each other out. And to do that, you have to let stuff off. And that stuff is the bubbles we see. It's actually carbon dioxide.